Hello, welcome. My neighbor, well, okay. My neighbor was having his lawn mowed, but I think he moved on to the next person's house, next lawn, so it's not as loud. It just, he just moved on to the next one. But hi, perfect start of the stream. I was worried I'd have to start with that going on in the background. But welcome! Are we excited, everyone? Chat, are you excited? Did you listen to the last VOD? Hello, Frosty. Welcome. Oh my god. I can't say I have never read smut before, like out loud. But those last, that last stream, reading just those 4 smut pages, that was something else. The VOD? Not yet. Oh boy, you're in for a treat. I actually did cut out a lot of moaning because I was like, I'm actually not gonna do that unless there's like a line I need to read because I'm not gonna give you that. That's okay. Maybe someday. But not on this site, and not on the red site either. Anyway, I hope you're cozy. I hope you're comfy. I have tea. My beautiful peach orange tea. Alright. Where we left off. Where did we leave off? Guys, where did we leave off? I was in the last stream, so yeah, but I went and read the smut pages, so where we left off, we're about to face off the big bad. This phantom character. This I forget what the brothel is called. The brothel of beauties or something? I don't know. Murderer. Yeah, can you hear the mowing in the background? Just a little bit, maybe. Yeah, we're just gonna deal with that all stream. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. It's not too bad right now. It was right by my window earlier, so. I took a peek. Very stealthily. Anyway! Anyway, we have 3 more chapters! We have 3 more chapters of this volume. And I know Mate Bun is gonna end it off on a big cliffhanger. I know it. She loves doing that shit. Oh my god, beautiful illustration. I'm sorry, is that of who? Is that of who? Is that of... Wait, who is this? What is going on? I don't know what's going on in this illustration. It's the last illustration of the book, and it's on the last page. What is... Ah! Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we are on chapter 32. They are in the caves. These caves after the delusion fog event happened. Looking for our phantom. Our phantom killer. And your Chunching was being such a baby. Oh, I love you, Chunching. Anyway, the last sentence that happened was, "Then, honored Shenjun, welcome in." Wow, okay, and this chapter, chapter 32, is titled Sword Spirit. Sword Spirit. Should we get started? Should we get started? Let's get started. Wow, okay. Let's see. It was terribly cold and damp in the cave, the air suffused with the perfume of makeup and the stink of corpse fluids. Ew! Okay, that's nasty. The ground was littered with scraps of human bone and fabric, and some yet unconsumed human hearts and eyes were piled on a shallow white plate in the corner. In contrast with this ghastly scene, the center of the cavern held a pile of crimson mats, and upon it a golden bed canopy embroidered with colorful butterflies. Why are we having the butterfly motif? What's going on here? Ooh, wow. My tea is still slightly too hot. Within the depths of the canopy, a woman in tattered clothes was curled up and waiting piteously. She was delirious and didn't seem to register their arrival. Yue Chengqing jumped with fear. Sorry. Yue Chengqing jumped with fear. How is the R word is a woman? No sooner had he spoken than a hand shot out from the pile of red bedding and savagely grabbed the maiden. Before she could so much as scream, that hand dragged her into the billowing red cloth. A pale-skinned man emerged from the bedding and climbed on. Hey, can I skip this part? I think you can imagine what this is. Wait, okay, actually, what the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, as they watched, he fiercely bit the maiden's lips. Her soul seemed to be sucked out of her in the blink of an eye. Her hand went limp like soft cotton, and her eyes went wide and blank as she died. After the man took her soul, he turned his head. He had a thin face with long, slender eyes and slightly sunken cheeks. A few wisps of long black hair dangled at his temples. He was extraordinarily emaciated. This was the true R word. There were a few beats of silence. It's you, Moji said. The man licked his wet lips and smiled. Jiujun's met me before? A pause. Yes. They had met before. Many years ago, on a battlefield of the northern frontier, Moji had been alone and in danger. A pack of demon wolves trained by the Lao Kingdom had surrounded him, leaving him no way out. In the nick of time, a young cultivator clad in green arrived, sword in hand. Green? Why's it gotta be green? With sword technique both ethereal and exquisite, he fought alongside Moji, a stranger, and helped him beat back the pack of demon wolves, more than 1,000 strong. Moji had wanted to thank the cultivator before he left, but the man only turned with a smile, his features as gentle as the green ribbon in his hair, fluttering on the breeze. Okay, Shenjingzhou. Or Shenju, maybe. Sorry. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Moji had... I just read that. It was nothing. I was only passing by. His cheeks were faintly creased with laugh lines. You need not think on it any further, officer. Luminous as the first snow, a righteous and honorable swordsman. That was Li Qingqian, whom Moji had met. That was also why, even though multiple marks of the water-parting sword had been found on the brothel murder corpses, Moji had been unable to believe it without laying eyes on the man himself. Meronglian had seen Li Qingqian's portrait on the record in the records of heroes, and he recognized him now as well. Though briefly stunned, he soon sharply asked, "Why is it you?" "Who else do you think it would be?" Li Qingqian, I really have to get that right. Li Qingqian rose, carelessly kicking Miss Lan's limp corpse to the side as he spoke scornfully. "Did you really think I was that runaway cook?" He bared his teeth. "That fool is nothing more than one of my pawns. If he had half my ability, could you have kept him locked up for so many years?" When it came to sarcasm, Meronglian never admitted defeat. After his initial shock passed, the corners of his mouth crooked upward in mockery. How odd. The water-parting sword, Li Qingqian, is a lofty master whose name is known throughout the land. His reputation has ever been clear and honorable. But upon meeting him today, I find that he's no more than a warwardist who likes to drink blood, eat flesh, and dig hearts. This has truly broadened this lord's mind. How admirable indeed. Unexpectedly, before Li Qingqian could respond, Yue Chengqing blurted out, "That can't be right." "What isn't right?" I don't know who's speaking here. He isn't Li Qingchan. He's clearly a... Yue Chengqing hesitated for a moment, as if he wasn't sure of his judgment. He's not a living person. He's a sword spirit. Coming through, Yue Chengqing. As soon as these words were uttered, the faint smile on Li Qingchan's face froze. His gaze landed on Yue Chengqing. As yet, his smile hadn't quite disappeared, but the malice in the depths of his eyes was fully hostile. Yue Chengqing couldn't help flinching, and he shuffled his feet to hide behind Moji. Li Qingchan bared his teeth in a ghastly grin. This brother acts ordinary, but is quite the sage. Please enlighten me with your esteemed name. My name is... Why... Why are you answering him? Moji lifted a long leg and gave the boy a hard kick. Do you think you're still a disciple of the academy, obliged to answer all questions? Yue Chengqing shook his head like a rattle drum. My name isn't Yue, he said hastily. I love him. I love him. Oh, and he loves him too. Li Qingchan threw his head back in raucous laughter, his scarlet lapels opening wide. Enough. All I need to know was your surname. Chonghua's Yue clan is one of the top artificer lines in the 9 provinces and 28 nations. No wonder a little rascal like you was able to decipher clues that even the 2 Shenjun, Jihe, and Wangshu could not. On the battlefield, Yue Chengqing liked to hide in the back. At present, where there were only 3 people and a bamboo warrior in the mountain cavern, and he was suddenly the focus of attention. He was left feeling extremely nervous, cowering like a quail. Though Moji had kicked him a second ago, he pulled Yue Chengqing behind himself. He turned to ask, He was the one you fought at the tavern? Yes. Why couldn't you tell he was a sword spirit then? I only thought his scent was somewhat familiar, Yue Chengqing mumbled. Jihejun, don't you remember? I told you, in hindsight, that was the aura of a sword spirit, but I was intentionally suppressing it at the time. Li Qingchan took over with a contemptuous smile. And this young Ye Gongzi only exchanged a few blows with me. I'm too excited. At his age, he likely hasn't yet mastered the artificing and analysis techniques of the Yue clan. That's why he couldn't identify me straight away. He paused, licking the corner of his lips. But young Ye Gongzi, the most important lesson your family elders ought to impart to you, has nothing to do with artificing, but rather something else. Huh? Yue Chengqing was baffled. Sometimes, even if you know something, it's best to pretend. Li Qingchan soared. Don't you dare hurt him. Li Qingchan soared into the air before he finished his sentence, summoning an iron sword and striking at Yue Chengqing as he gritted out his final 3 words. That you don't. Better not hurt him. You better not hurt him. You better not. As the sword point rushed toward him, Yue Chengqing shrieked miserably. Jihejun, help! Moji shoved Yue Chengqing toward Muranglian and stepped forward to meet the attack. With a flash of red light, here we go. Let's go, Moji, let's go. Shuairan transformed into a longsword and clashed against Li Qingchan's blade. It's really hard to switch between the 2 names. Sword spirit, so that's what it was. No wonder these wounds had borne the marks of malevolent qi, as well as an ordinary weapon. Vengeful ghosts typically didn't use weapons to harm people, nor were they particularly clear-minded, and they couldn't possess and they couldn't possibly write on walls. But if the culprit was a sword spirit, everything made sense. In pursuit of an even stronger and more versatile weapon, rather than the usual method of imbuing a sword with a spirit, some artificers. Why is that word so hard to say? Some artificers of the 9 provinces sacrificed living people to a blade. However, this method of tempering was unbelievably cruel, and the 20 countries headed by Chonghua had long since banned it. What does that mean? The only nation where this technique remained prevalent was the Lao Kingdom. After the human soul was imbued in the weapon's blade, their consciousness would either sink into an eternal sleep as the years flowed by, never to wake, or if they possessed an unresolved obsession, slowly coalesce into human form. Sword spirits who could recover their human shapes were nearly identical to living people in appearance and bearing, but for the intense malevolent chi they emanated. They required large amounts of spiritual energy to maintain their form, so if their own cultivation was insufficient, as Li Qingchan's was, they would need to consume the flesh and hearts of other cultivators in order to absorb the souls of weaker beings, and thereby pursue their larger goals. The corporeal sword spirit was often extremely strong, each move and strike better than the last, but they had a fatal weakness. This was why, upon being exposed by Yue Chenqing, Li Qingchan was livid and moved at once to kill him. Their true form could not fall into their enemies' hands. That was to say, if someone obtained the weapon vessel of the sword spirit and either sealed or destroyed it, the sword spirit would be helpless no matter its strength. Lian had clearly realized the same thing. While Moji engaged the sword spirit, he pulled Yue Chenqing aside. "You said this Li Qingchan is a sword spirit. Do you know how to locate his true form?" "I'll try." Yue Chenqing closed his eyes and created an array seal with his hands. After a moment, he blinked his eyes open and stared dazedly at Lian. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Lian asked, perplexed. "Daga," Yue Chenqing said incredulously. His true form is on you." "What nonsense is this?" Lian said angrily, loudly rapping Yue Chenqing's head with his pipe. "You dare accuse me of working with Lao Kingdom flunkies? I'm not. I just said that his true form is not on me." "Okay." he just okays that. So fucking dumb. I love him so much. Okay. I can't deal with him. Okay. Lian pressed down on his head in displeasure. "Try again." Yue Chenqing was left with no choice but to comply, but after several more attempts he finally opened his eyes and stared pitifully at Lian without daring to speak. Lian's face was beginning to turn green, his lips parted. He wanted to take a puff of ephemera to steady his nerves. However, as soon as he remembered that he had stuck his pipe into a corpse's mouth, during their grand battle a few minutes ago, he was immediately disgusted. He wiped the pipe back and forth again and again on Yue Chenqing's clothes. I fucking love him. As he did so, something occurred to him. His expression grew stiff, and his movements gradually slowed. "Hold it," he muttered. "It might actually be on me." He glanced toward Li Chenqing. Nope, Li Qingchan and Moji, who were clashing with sword chi. It would be impossible for Li Qingchan to get past Moji and draw near to them anytime soon, so he hastily pulled Yue Chenqing aside, aiming to find a more secluded spot behind the stalagmites. Li Qingchan wasn't stupid. He spied their movements out of the corner of his eye, snorted, and turned his blade, planning to give chase. Yet before he had swept even a few yards in that direction, he heard Moji intone coldly from behind him. Shrairan, spirit transformation. Li Qingchan was startled. He heard an explosion behind his back, and red light lit the stone cave into a sea of flame. The spiritual snake, as tall as 3 men, slithered out from the blazing crimson, furiously charging at Li Qingchan and blocking his path. That's so sexy of him. Li Qingchan turned to bark furiously. Watch yourself, Moji. Maybe others don't know about the shameful things you've done with that damned Gumong, but I know all of them too well. I know all about what you said and did with him at Lome Pavilion upon your return. If you continue to get in my way, I'll destroy your reputation. Sorry, it's just like, that's the word. Really? You think he... Okay. You think he'd fucking fall for that? He didn't expect that Moji would do nothing more than shoot him a frosty glare. Holding the leather whip that manifested as Shrairan's physical form, Moji cracked it and uttered a single word. Go. Shrairan swooped down toward Li Qingchan. Asshole! Li Qingchan shouted. Do you really not care about what I could say? Me? Care about what you say? Moji narrowed his eyes, his expression filled with scorn. Who would believe you? You. But Li Qingchan knew Moji's words were true. Mo Gongzi had been pristine and pristine and proper since youth, and he never behaved outrageously. No matter if he was presented with beautiful men or alluring women, he was completely uninterested. Sorry. He was completely uninterested. Where was I? Gumong was perhaps the only stain, the only scandal in all the world that could be linked to this man. Li Qingchan was a malevolent spirit, so even if his story was watertight, who would believe it? What could they do even if they did? He clenched his jaw and turned to fight the Shrairan snake. The bamboo warrior creaked noisily as it ran back and forth, wanting to help. Moji looked at the sleeping Gumong still tied to it. With a wave of his hand, he conjured a protective barrier and enclosed him within it. The bamboo warrior creaked furiously. Stay there and don't move, Moji said. The warrior seemed dejected by its inability to pull its weight as part of the team. Its head dropped, bringing Gumong's head down as well. After a while, it extended its arms, straightened its back in resignation, and stood there like a scarecrow. Behind the stalagmites, Ye Chunqing knelt on the ground, staring stupefied at a pile of miniature weapons before him. Blades, swords, rods, and whips, all the size of a fingernail, crashed and poured out of Murong Lian's Chankun pouch. Why does that one always get me? Chankun pouch as he shook it. These were all confiscated from the captives of Lome Pavilion, Murong Lian said. Even though their owner's spiritual cores were broken, the weapons might not accept a new master so easily. The resentment is very potent. Murong Daga, keeping so many unclaimed holy weapons on you is super dangerous. If they transformed into spirits, it would be a disaster, Ye Chunqing said, shocked. Murong Lian rolled his eyes at his concern. I'm not an idiot. This Chankun pouch was made by your great-grandfather and emblazoned with his seal. A couple hundred weapons is nothing for it. Even 1,000 wouldn't pose a threat. Besides, I had your father extract the spiritual forms of these weapons long ago. They're all suppressed in the in the Ching Chan or Quan Chuan. It's a QU, so I don't know. In the Ching Chuan pool at Lome Pavilion. 49 spirit suppressing 49 spirit-suppressing carp are kept in that pool. And on top of that, barriers to prevent the escape of malevolent spirits are all around Lome Pavilion. So usually... At this point he stopped. Then, as if a new thought had occurred to him, his expression slowly fell. I understand now. Murong Daga, what do you understand? I understand how the sword spirit Li Qingchan escaped from Lome Pavilion. Was it your fault? Was it your fucking fault this whole time? That's the end of the chapter. Whoa! Okay. He understands that he fucked up, doesn't he? Doesn't he? Doesn't he? Doesn't he understand that he fucked up real bad big time? Oh my god. Oh my god. Yo, the last chapter's... Oh no, it's not that long. Okay. This chapter is called Want You. So... we'll see how this plays out. Let me clear my throat properly. Sorry, I'm just slapping myself. Okay. Chapter 33. Ow. I knocked my hand on my table. Chapter 33, page 363. Want You. Murong Lian grimaced. Do you remember when I punished Gumong with a month of confinement? I do, but what does it have to do with this? If someone approached Qingchan Pool while they were weak, they might be possessed by malevolent spirits, Murong Lian said. Gumong was hungry, so he knelt by the pool. He even tried to catch those fish with his bare hands. Huh? Murong Daga, how come you know about that? I know everything that happens at Lome Pavilion. Murong Lian cleared his throat. Gumong trying to catch fish attracted the attention of the sword spirit Li Qingchan, who was suppressed inside the pool. So, Li Qingchan temporarily took over his body. Ah. Oh. Oh, so it is your fault, you fucking bitch. Ah, Yue Chenqing said. Then Li Qingchan triggered the malevolent qi on Gumong's heart and made him go on a rampage? No, Murong Lian said. He wasn't able to, at the time. He was extremely weak and couldn't possess Gumong for long. The only sort of vessel he could occupy long-term would be a feeble, on the brink of death Gumong. On the brink of death. Would be... Oh, reading that over again. The only sort of vessel he could occupy long-term would be feeble, on the brink of death. Gumong was merely hungry. What were you saying, man? His gaze was sharp. So, Li Qingchan used the limited time he had to do one thing. What thing? He severely injured someone. Oh, that cook. Exactly, Murong Lian said, his voice chill and eerie. Li Qingchan took control of Gumong, then used the sword array to injure the Lao Kingdom cook without killing him. In this way, he created a target suitable for long-term possession. Then he waited for the right opportunity to trigger the malevolent qi in Gumong's heart, making him go berserk and break the barrier. In the chaos, Li Qingchan used the cook's body to escape. If he understands Gumong so well, and was... No, this is... Wait, who is he saying this? Dog bark break, I guess. Every time I try to go to speak, my dog barks again. Okay. We'll just ignore it. Maybe. Hopefully. Hopefully? Unless... I'm sorry. There is somebody supposed to come today, but I didn't think that they would come this early. Hopefully it's not a problem. But we'll see. Okay, let's just continue as much as we can. If he understands Gumong so well and was even able to trigger Gumong's malevolent chi, he had to be from the Lao kingdom, Yue Chunqing said. Li Qingchan wasn't from Lao, but now that he's somehow become a sword spirit, it doesn't sound like he was a Lao cultivator's weapon. Muranglian considered for a moment, then added, and it wouldn't have been an elite cultivator's weapon. He lowered his head, using his pipe to poke incautiously at those miniaturized weapons. Look, can you tell which one is its true form? This wasn't difficult. It was more or less a foundational skill taught by the Ye clan. Ye Chunqing closed his eyes and studied the flow of spiritual energy for a bit. Then his eyes flew open once again as he reached out to pick up a very small, shrunken sword. It's this one. Good. Muranglian picked up the bean-sized sword, placed it on his palm, and noiselessly recited an incantation. A brilliant light burst from his hand, and the bean-sized blade became a slim, light sword with a Tao Tai pattern on its hilt, every inch gleaming with jade-green light. The words Hong Shao, Red Peony, were carved on the blade in seal script. Tao Tai has a footnote. What the fuck does that make? Oh, okay. A bilaterally symmetric decorative pattern consisting of the face of a Tao Tai, a mythical beast. I'm sorry. I'm so distracted right now. It is impeding my reading ability. There's so much going on right now in my house. Hopefully it doesn't abruptly stop the stream from happening. Okay. This sword obviously has a jade-colored hilt, so why is it named Red Peony? Yue Chunqing asked, perplexed. These two words were obviously branded by the sword spirit itself after someone was sacrificed to the blade. Li Qingchan died for the sword, but it's not called Qingchan's sword or the water-parting sword. Why is it called the Hong Shao sword? Don't worry about why, Muranglian said. Destroy the blade first. Destroy it? Yue Chunqing sputtered and shook his head. No, that's too hard. Breaking weapons imbued with spirits is a high-level Yue clan technique. I can't do it. Muranglian swore under his breath. How long would it take you to go back to Yue Manor and find someone who can? There isn't anyone, Yue Chunqing said. There isn't anyone else, Yue Chunqing said. That technique is too dangerous, so my dad doesn't pass it on to just anyone, and he isn't even in the capital right now. Then what about your bofu? Father's elder brother. He doesn't know how. What about your fourth uncle? Yue Chunqing felt wronged. You know what he's like. He never pays attention to me. Even if he were in the capital, I wouldn't know where to find him. On and on with all these excuses, Muranglian said angrily. All this whining and we're still stuck with you. However rubbish you are, you're up. Only when one requires knowledge in real life does one regret their previous lack of learning. As of now, Li Qingchan had been identified as a sword spirit, but whether he would let them leave alive was still up for debate. Even if they managed to escape, it would be for naught if they couldn't then destroy this Hong Shao sword. Yue Chunqing could only grimace. Okay, then I'll try it. But in case I fail, could you... Don't worry. I'll definitely disembowel you if you fail, Muranglian said darkly. Yue Chunqing went quiet. It was just as Yue Chunqing said. Destroying an ordinary weapon wasn't difficult. Find a strong man who could break boulders over his chest or have him bend it in half, and that would be the end of it. Destroying a weapon imbued with a spirit was far more onerous. Onerous? Onerous? Onerous. Yet... Okay. Yue Chengqing bit his fingertip hard enough to draw blood, put Hong Shao on the ground, and began to draw a talisman around it. The talisman was terribly complicated, and he didn't remember it with that much clarity to begin with, which meant he had to fix it again and again. Watching this, Lian grew profoundly impatient. Are you done yet? Don't rush me. The more you rush me, the more mistakes I make. Hurry up. I want to go home and smoke. Now that Lian was craving ephemera, his expression became more and more unsightly, the rims of his eyes faintly reddening as a sickly flush suffused his pale face. Uh-oh. He lowered his head to look at his pipe, only to see another filthy Jiangxi bloodstain he hadn't wiped clean. He found himself feeling even more disgusted as he closed his eyes and leaned to the side. I'm done drawing. I finally got it, Yue Chengqing cried at last. Hastily sitting with crossed legs, he closed his eyes and formed a seal in front of the blood array. Lian endured the irritation surging in his chest and glared through narrow eyes at this youth who earnestly began to chant the incantation and perform the spell. As Yue Chengqing recited, the array on the ground glowed with gentle white light, as if wisps of immortal qi were enclosing on Hong Shao. Thy blood fills the furnace, thy bones become the blade. The glow grew steadily brighter, and Hong Shao emitted a sharp shriek from within the array and shuddered slightly. This sword of water's gleam was once a yearning dream. Li Qingchen obviously felt something strange happening from his end of the cave. He spun around, his face a rictus of fury as he gnashed his teeth. That rascal from the Yue clan, ruining my work! He made to fly over and attack, but was stopped by Moji's sword. Li Qingchen grew even more furious. Move aside, or else... His water-parting sword maneuvers were so fast they merged into a ghostly blur, but nevertheless he could not escape. The clang of metal and the flying of sparks filled the dim cave. In desperation, Li Qingchen threw his head back and shrieked, a massive cloud of black miasma exploding from his chest. The black qi coalesced into a hissing spiritual talisman in his palm and shot toward Gumong. This was the highest level demon summoning talisman of the Lao Kingdom. No more than 10 people in all of Lao were versed in its use. The talisman burst in midair and became hundreds of flying arrows wreathed in plumes of demonic qi. They flew hissing in Gumong's direction. Just as they were about to pierce the barrier around him, Moji leapt through the air to land in front of Gumong. Holding the Chiron sword straight up in front of him, he twisted the blade, light illuminating his features. Lotus snake formation, open! Moji bellowed. Chiron's sword form shattered into thousands of motes of red light in his hands, blossoming like lush lotus flowers. Each fragment of the sword landed in the form of a snake with gleaming scales, which launched into the air and tore Li Qingchen's talisman apart. Yet at that moment, Li Qingchen jumped behind Gumong, concentrating the sword qi around him to blast a hole through the protective barrier. Moji whipped around and kicked Li Qingchen square in the chest. Li Qingchen spat out a mouthful of filthy blood, but at the last second he used what remained of his strength to mercilessly implant the demon-summoning talisman within Gumong's chest. Gumong's clear blue eyes snapped open, the malevolent qi in his body immediately and explosively increased. Moji tensed. Gumong, thy blood fills the furnace, thy bones become the blade. This sword of water's gleam was once a yearning dream. On the other side of the cave, Yue Chengqing's incantation was like a curse encircling Li Qingchen. Panting, Li Qingchen's face paled further. But he staggered to his feet with a hand pressed to his heart. He threw his head back in laughter. No matter how you try to suppress him, Li Qingchan panted, you're no match for the control that the Lao Kingdom's demon summons crimson. Gumong, come. Greenish tendons protruded from Gumong's wrists. With an explosive boom, he burst free from the bamboo warrior's immortal binding ropes. In the next breath, a wisp of black chi flew out from his forehead and reduced Yue Chunqing's immobility talisman to ashes. Bitch. Sorry, I just looked up and my stream is really blurry and glitchy. Is something happening? Did we blip out for a second? Should I go back? Are we okay? I think we're okay. We're okay now, but if I miss something, just let me know. I'll go back to it. Yeah, okay. Wow. This is a very tense moment. Okay. Bitch. Gumong looked up through those blue, lupine eyes and tore apart the last and thickest loop of immortal binding rope, which had been wound around his waist. He strode. My words are happening. Should be fine. I heard everything. Okay. Thank you. Which had been wound. Yeah, that's wound. Wound. Which had been wound around his waist. He strode toward Li Qingchan and knelt before him. No! Not another one! Awaiting orders. Li Qingchan clenched his jaw and pointed at Moji. Kill him. Understood. The demon summoning talisman demanded a terrifying quantity of spiritual energy from its caster, so in controlling Gumong thus far, Li Qingchan had used only ordinary techniques to awaken Gumong's demonic chi. The rest would hang on this moment. No matter how high the cost, Li Qingchan had to rely on Gumong for his final salvo. Malevolent chi swirled around Gumong's body, in the blue of his eyes so bright they glowed nearly white. A colossal blaze in the shape of a wolf's head flared to life behind him. It's beautiful, though. The bamboo warrior creaked as it readied. Gumong lifted a hand and, without so much as a twitch of his finger, sent the bamboo warrior that had sought to launch a sneak attack flying into the wall of stone. Those blue eyes reflected Moji's black figure. Pausing, he dully repeated his orders. Huh? Oh, this is Gumong speaking. Oh my god. Those blue eyes reflected Moji's black figure. Pausing, he dully repeated his orders. Kill you. He shot forward to attack. While Moji had his hands full fending off Gumong, Li Qingchan seized his chance to leap behind a stone formation. His expression was livid. He looked like he wanted to wring Yue Chunqing's neck into a fountain of blood. Murong Lian had, of course, noticed the series of events, even though Li Qingchan's... Yes, I read that right. abilities outclassed his own. The sword spirit had expended too much energy and was faltering like an arrow at the end of its flight. Facing him wouldn't be out of the question. Hurry up! I'll stall him, Murong Lian said to Yue Chunqing. He flitted behind the stalagmite. He flitted behind the stalagmite and flung out a water demon talisman that transformed instantly into its eponymous? I have never read that word before. Demons. They rose from the ground one after the other to tear at Li Qingchan. The sword... What was I saying? Oh, the sword this is such a tense moment. The sword I can't read that word. The sword subsumes thy soul, my binding lights thy way. Yue Chunqing had reached the end of his incantation. Black water spilled forth from Hong Xiao's blade to pool around the blood array. On the other side of the rocks, Li Qingchan swept away the charging horde of demons with a flick of his sword and leapt toward Murong Lian. His sword technique had once been terrifyingly powerful, but at this precise moment, a shudder ran through him. Shuairan's tip struck Li Qingchan's wrists, and his blade fell clanging to the ground. If a sword spirit's true form was destroyed, they were instantly annihilated no matter how strong they had been. Li Qingchan was certainly aware of this crucial fact. The only reason he had eaten the hearts of cultivators to supplement his cultivation and remained in Changhua all this time had been to find a way to reclaim his true form from Murong Lian. But Murong Lian had been too well guarded. Li Qingchan had been utterly unable to get close to him. On top of that, no matter how many people he'd eaten or souls he'd absorbed, the seal on the Hongxiao sword prevented him from merging with the blade and accessing his true powers. That was why he had used demonic curses to lure... Oh my god. I need to reset my brain. That was a long paragraph. That was why he had used demonic curses to lure Gumong out of his prison. He wanted to use him to steal back Hongxiao. But who could have known? Li Qingchan had prepared for thousands of contingencies, but he never anticipated that Zhihejun would leave a tracker on Gumong that would allow him to chase him down so quickly. Sorry, my throat's closing up for no reason. It just does that sometimes. I just have to be a pirate for a second. Okay. Li Qingchan's eyes were scarlet and his chest heaved as he howled in outrage. I can't die, and no one can stop me. It's no use. He shouted this over and over, but his spirit form could hold on no longer. He fell to his knees, his hands bracing him over the ground. Fucking hell. Among his 3 pursuers, why did one of them have to be a descendant of an aristocratic... Oh my god, I can't say that word. It has too many forms. Aristocratic artificer clan. This was truly, as Li Qingchan thought, wild laughter bubbled up from his throat, the sound indescribably distorted and hateful. Come to think of it, no matter whether he'd fought for good or for evil, whether he'd persevered along the righteous path or fallen into a den of demons, the heavens had never once treated him with mercy. And what of that saying, I decide my fate, not the heavens? For all his desperate struggling, what had he managed to achieve? How laughable. How very laughable. Li Qingchan watched as, in the distance, Yue Chunqing's work made Hongxiao shake miserably, his heart seized with hatred, his struggle and descent into depravity over the past few years. The blood that had soaked him through, the memories came back, against his will, one after another. Li Qingchan was filled with a sudden, dogged refusal to accept this outcome. Gumong, he shouted. Come, take the sword! Gumong was fighting intensely with Moji nearby. As this shout resonated throughout the entire cave, his blue eyes shifted. He turned to rush toward Li Qingchan, but Moji grabbed his shoulder and held him. Gumong looked back at him. I'm taking the sword, he said coldly. I don't want you. What he meant was that his current mission had become taking the sword rather than killing Moji. Moji still didn't let go. and Gumong's eyes narrowed further as his tone grew more clipped. I don't want you. Those blue eyes paired with the way he bit his lip in frustration as he said something so suggestive and willful. I don't want you. Moji knew that Gumong didn't mean anything by it, but a fire blazed. Of course, he's such a. But a fire blazed to life in his chest nonetheless. He threw up a hand to cover Gumong's face, refusing to even look at him. Is it your choice to want me or not? Huh? What does that mean? Is it your choice to want me or not? What does that mean? Guys, what does this mean? I can't read. What does this mean? Oh, he's such an idiot. I love him so much. Let go. You want to take the sword and not me, right? Yes, Gumong said. Ooh, okay. His firm and ringing words made Moji's rage burn only more fiercely. Wasn't the order to kill me, he snapped. You can't take the sword before you do that. Those blue eyes glazed over. That sounded about right. Although a person controlled by the demon summoning talisman could follow orders well enough, rarely could they think for themselves. This was why the Lao Kingdom cultivators who employed this technique usually expressed their orders very explicitly, precisely marking out the start and end of each command. It was obvious that Li Qingchan had learned this technique in secret, and that he therefore didn't know the proper method by which to control a subject. Thus, even though Gumong was strong, he was confused. Those lupine eyes swept back and forth over Moji again and again, as if assessing whether what Moji said was true, or weighing whether the person in front of him was worth biting. Then he made his decision. Oh no! Oh no! All right, I want you first, then the sword. And that's like a scene break, and we're going into a flashback now? Oh my god. Okay, be right. It's a very, very short one. It's very short. It's like 2 paragraphs. It's like more like 1 paragraph, but not exactly. Anyway. Gaga wants you. How could I not want you? Once those black eyes had smiled and shone as Gumong gazed at Moji in the night. His expression lazy and carefree, strong arms had pulled Moji close, his Shidi and comrade, his lover and young master. In the forest near the battlefield, Gumong had pressed in and kissed Moji, first tenderly, then with blazing passion. The "want you" from back then had been answered with a moment of stolen pleasure. The "want you" of now was followed not by tenderness, but by the unsheathing of a demonic blade that struck at Moji, fierce and sharp. The legs that had once trembled around Moji's waist were now both vicious and well-aimed, lifting high and kicked hard. No matter how much malevolent chi Gumong absorbed, his core was broken. Though he was exceptionally strong, he was no match for the pure-blooded descendant of gods, Moji. And that was to say nothing of how well Moji knew Gumong's fighting style, each move, every strike. God, they're fighting with each other is just an allegory for fucking each other. It's the same thing, okay? They're fucking right now. When Gumong turned to kick, he met only empty air. Moji turned to grab his ankle and glanced at him sidelong before offhandedly catching the flying blade Gumong threw. Spiritual energy blazed, and a thin blade in his hand splintered into shreds. What a coincidence. Moji paused for a second before speaking, his tone like ice. I want you as well. Oh my god! Moji finally confessing! What? In the middle of a fight. That's crazy. He would only do that in the middle of a fight, not even in the middle of fucking. He would never confess in the middle of fucking. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Wow. Gumang had no chance to respond before the world spun before his eyes as Moji threw him to the ground. I'm so excited. Moji's strong frame pinned him down in a manner almost brutally dominant, forcing him to the cave floor with his knees at Gumang's hips, one hand around his wrist and the other gripping him by the jaw. Oh my god! This is exactly what I want Savika to do to me. This is so good. This is so good. In all of Changhua, none knew the Lao Kingdom better than Moji. Other than medicine Master Zhang, he was perhaps the only other individual who could lift the demon summoning curse. Oh, is it with a kiss? Do you have to kiss? Oh no. Oh no. He held a violently squirming and resisting Gumang still, and stared down into those blue eyes that darted around with unease. Sorry, shit, ad's starting soon. Wait, okay, we cannot move on. I cannot be interrupted with this. It's almost the end of the— fucking hell. I was not looking up for so long, so I did not know. I'm so sorry. But this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm reading ahead. Not for you right now. Hold on. Let the ad run and then we'll continue. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! This is literally— they're literally fucking— I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Okay, they're not literally fucking, but like, they could be. We could just replace the fighting with and it'd be the same. It'd be the same. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, this is fine. Okay, we're continuing. He held the violently squirming and resisting Gumang still and stared down into those blue eyes that darted around with unease. Want you? Gumang's face was flush in Moji's grip, but he ground out his insistence through gritted teeth. Yes, this was the order he'd been given. But the way it sounded— Moji's heart flared with soaring heat. He looked at Gumang struggling underneath him, staring up at him fiercely, helplessly. Like a spark landing in a pile of firewood, an urge rushed through Moji's mind. An urge to tear Gumang to shreds, to hurt him in the most intimate of ways, to make him regret, to make him beg for mercy. In that moment, Moji found himself with second thoughts about uttering words so coarse and simple as, "I want you as well." He had chosen this phrasing to help Gumang more easily understand him, or had the years of hunger piled up in his heart seized this opportunity to spill forth. Oh, that is so good. Oh, take notes. Take notes. That line is so good. Holy shit. This self-doubt frightened Moji. At the same time, Gumang's eyes welled up in discomfort beneath him, his blue irises hazy with a sheen of involuntary tears. He panted, lips parting as he tried to speak again. To stop himself from thinking any more terrifying thoughts, Moji covered Gumang's mouth. "Behave," he ground out. "I'm lifting the curse for you." Gumang made a furious noise of displeasure beneath him, and even tried to bite Moji's fingers. "It'll hurt." Moji's hot exhales sank down. He stared into Gumang's eyes, their faces so close. "Bear with it." told you they're just fucking. Oh my god! That's the end of the chapter, and we have one chapter left. We have a single chapter left, and it's only like what? Yeah, it's 10 pages. It's 10 pages. Holy shit! I need to get more tea. I need to get more tea because I am out. I will be back momentarily, hopefully. I don't actually know if I even have the ability to get more tea. There's things going on with stuff in the house right now. I will try to get more tea and see if that is a thing that I can do. You guys just sit with that for a moment, okay? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I got more tea. How are we feeling? I got more tea because I forgot it was my god. Oh my god. That was a lot, huh? That was a lot. That might have been like more sexual than the actual smut. Than the actual smut a couple chapters back. So good though. I love that flavor. I love it so much. Oh my god. What I wouldn't do to be in his position. Sorry, you might be learning some things about me in these readings. Ooh. Anyway, I'm waiting for my tea to cool. How are we feeling? Victor Nation, how are we feeling? Smut is just smut, but the build, it is where it's at. Yep. Yep. That's so true. You can have very lackluster smut scenes. Okay, but the smut scenes in this were pretty good too. They were pretty good. I have honey yuzu tea that lists sugar as its last ingredient, so I'm hoping it won't be too, it won't fuck up my throat too much, you know? I'm just remembering. I'm just remembering everything. My allergies have really been fucking with me this past couple of weeks, honestly, and it's weird because it's winter, right? This should not be happening, but it is. It might be the air quality or something. I have no idea. Maybe maybe my pills just don't work on me anymore. It could be that. That is very, very possible. But yeah. This tea is very hot. So let's just get into the next chapter while that cools down. I think we'll be okay. Are we ready? Are we ready for the next chapter? Do you want to hear the title of this chapter? Do you want to hear the title of this chapter? It's fine. It's fine. It's just called Bite Me. That's all. Chapter 34. Bite Me. Final chapter of this volume. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna jump off the cliff. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ooh, okay. Okay, this is gonna be so good. Yeah, let's go. Just as Moji promised, being freed from the demon summoning talisman was extremely painful, like having thousands of thorny brambles pulled from one's flesh. Gumong tried to bear it silently at first, but by the time Moji had recited half the incantation, he could no longer endure. His tense form went lax beneath Moji, and he shivered and convulsed, until finally, great tears spilled from the corners of his eyes to trail shakily to his temples. Oh my god! It's just continuing! His eyes were red from crying, but Moji kept a hand over his mouth, blocking all sound. Gumong's clothes were soon soaked in sweat, gaze unfocused and eyes blank as they reflected Moji's face. His reflection fractured with a blink, becoming the tears in Gumong's stinging eyes. I think we need to hold space for that sentence and that phrasing. Wow. He became the tears in his eyes. He became fractured by a blink. His reflection fractured with a blink, becoming the tears in Gumong's stinging eyes. I need to frame that or something. That is so good. That is the best line of this book. Oh, wow. Okay, that's fine. Moji had to exert all his strength to keep Gumong pinned, to stop him from going berserk. It hurt. It hurt so much, a pain deeper than bone and marrow. Moji found the sight of Gumong's quivering lashes so difficult to bear that it frightened him. Against his will, his grip loosened a touch. In that momentary slack, Gumong struggled away from the hand muzzling him. He turned his head and gasped for breath, crying out desperately in a voice both hoarse and pitiful. Unlike his powerful body, his voice, when he whimpered, was as delicate as spring leaves. Stop it! Whew. Oh, okay. In truth, Gumong had cried like this before, but no one else knew when. Only Moji had heard it on their bed. Bite me, Moji murmured. Gumong didn't understand. He was deaf to anything. Moji said. Moji took a deep breath, pushing aside his unease, and bent down. At this angle, he knew Gumong would reflexively bite his shoulder. Oh. Wow. Gumong's canines were terribly sharp. They'd broken skin many times in the past, to the point where the scars he'd left still hadn't faded, and might not ever. Same old spot. Go ahead and bite, thought Moji. Ruthlessly, he continued to chant. This short respite, followed by even worse pain, made Gumong flinch, body going taut as he gasped hoarsely once more. Caught between maddening frustration and breaking down completely, he instinctively opened his mouth and sank his teeth into Moji's shoulder. His entire body was soaked in sweat. He spasmed and shook in Moji's arms. The closer the incantation came to completion, the more unbearable the pain became. By the end, Gumong could no longer keep his jaw clamped down on Moji's shoulder. He abruptly let go and tilted his face away, gasping raggedly. Sweat beaded his skin, his eyes so teary they trembled. His eyes so teary they resembled storm-swept seas. He finally spoke. It hurts. This was the first time since Moji's return to Changhua, the first time since the reunion that Gumong had expressed himself with such undisguised emotion. I hurt. It's fine. Hey guys, this is totally fine. I'm acting completely normal about this. This is fine. I just need some tea. Wow. Hopefully I don't burn myself on this. Take your bets. Everything is normal. Everything is so normal. Wow. Okay, that's okay. Moji's chest tightened. That heart, once stabbed and never the same, throbbed and ached violently within his ribs. He gazed into Gumong's eyes. Gumong had collapsed, limp in his arms. Moji had a sudden, irrepressible urge to press his head to Gumong's clammy forehead like he had long ago, before anything had broken beyond repair. To caress Gumong's sweat-soaked brow and tell him, "Don't worry, you'll be all right once this curse is broken. I'll stay with you. I'll stay with you." But as Moji lowered his face as he drew close, he at once remembered all that had happened. All that could never be undone. He remembered that Muranglian and the others were separated from them by merely a stone wall. If he didn't quickly release Gumong from the demon summoning talisman, this mess would become even harder to resolve. Jerking himself awake, Moji turned away and blinked his eyes a few times, continuing to chant. It was the last piece, only the last piece. He felt a sudden pain in his neck. It was Gumong, so weak he could no longer bite into Moji's shoulder, longingly opening his mouth to sink his teeth into something softer instead. He was biting into the side of Moji's neck. Or not so much biting, since he was already so weak, but mouthing. Beneath those wet lips, only the sharpest canine could still hurt Moji. The others barely touched him. The final walls in his heart came crumbling down. Moji closed his eyes. Just this once. Only this once. Heedless of whoever might see them, uncaring of what they would think, unbothered even, by all that had happened between himself and Gumong, their deep and bloody hatred. Moji lifted a hand to cradle the back of Gumong's head and let him bite. He stroked Gumong's hair, softly coaxing him. "It's okay. It's okay. It's all over now. All over now." The pain was over. If only their debts and hatred could be so easily cast aside. If only the chasm between them could be closed as quickly as the end of this agony. If only. He held and comforted this trembling man in his arms. No one saw. Even Moji himself was unwilling to bear witness. Ow! Closing his eyes before gently laying a kiss on top of Gumong's head. If only all the suffering in the world could end too. If only. I almost fell down the stairs listening to this. And that is a normal reaction. That is completely normal. I have only not fallen over because I am sitting down. So released from the curse, Gumong drifted into slumber. Moji rose and summoned the bamboo warrior, commanding it to take care of him. Then he transformed Shrairan into a spiritual snake once again, and left it to stand guard, while he went around the stone wall to help Muranglian and Yue Ching bring this difficult battle to a close. But by the looks of it, they didn't need his help. Yue Ching's spiritual power wasn't particularly potent. He had to recite each line of the sword-destroying incantation some 30 times, but with each repetition, Li Qingchan's energy weakened. By now, Yue Ching was almost at the final round, and Li Qingchan was no longer much of a match for Muranglian. Okay, go off, Muranglian. Thy blood fills the furnace, thy bones become the blade. These incantations had morphed into hazy plumes of white smoke that wound around Li Qingchan. The sword of water's gleam was once a yearning dream. Li Qingchan was a force to be reckoned with. His form had already dissipated to a significant extent, but, face pale, he continued to exchange unsteady blows with Muranglian. Muranglian grew more relaxed the longer they fought, knocking over his opponent to the ground again and again. He watched Li Qingchan stagger up with blood leaking from the corners of his mouth, clothes askew. Muranglian scoffed. Why are you still struggling? Defeat is inevitable, yet you insist on this pathetic display. Do you enjoy getting kicked? Li Qingchen did not speak. He simply laughed maniacally. His lips parted to spit up a fountain of blood. His eyes flashed with a mad perseverance difficult to describe, as though there were something for which he must survive at all costs. He couldn't dissipate until he achieved that goal, nor could he merely look on as Yue Chenqing destroyed the Hongshao sword. That glint in his eyes wasn't saying, "I decide my fate, not the heavens," but rather, "I cannot defeat the heavens, but no matter what, I will do as I ought. Even if I lose, even if I die, even if I'm reduced to wind-blown ash, I will never bow to fate. I will not bow." Crazed, he laughed again, and Muranglian sent another brutal kick at his face. With his slippered foot. Again, Li Qingchen crawled to his feet, inching toward Yue Chenqing. He's laughing. Ha 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 ha. Li Zongxi. Moji's. Oh, this is Moji. Li Zongxi. Okay. Moji's address made the wildly laughing Li Qingchen shudder. His eyes red swiveled to stare unsparingly into Moji's, his expression both unsettled and bewildered. "You disappeared after the ordeal at the Maiden's Lament Mountain. What happened afterward?" Moji had asked on a gamble, but as this question hung in the air, he was certain he'd struck true. Li Qingchen's eyes had narrowed slightly, that crazed smile beginning to distort. The Hongshao sword, the writing on the wall. The maidens kidnapped for their similar faces, the extravagantly dressed ghost brides in the caves. First, she hates her helpless face. Second, hates her ill-starred face. Third, their parting does she hate. Alas, a lost love left too late. All this seemed to point to the involvement of an unknown woman. But why? What had happened at Maiden's Lament Mountain? What had made that swordsman clad in fluttering green become a vengeful sword spirit, an unrecognizable evil ghost? Moji gazed at him. "Who forged you into the sword? Who did you come to Changhua to seek?" Li Qingchen wanted to laugh again, but after a hard swallow, only a pathetic rasp escaped his lips. "Who's Li Zongxi? Not me. I'm not him. That idiot Li Qingchen is dead. He should have died even sooner. It's all because he lived here too long, and was too delusional, too desperate for fame, that he was able to hurt others, hurt himself, and end up like he did. He has no one to blame but himself." These words were viciously spat. "He deserved it!" The sword spirit shrieked unsteadily, malevolently. "Who am I looking for? Those girls! I'm here for vengeance. I'm here to kill. I'm gonna kill." Li Qingchen's screams grew more hateful, but glimmering light rose from the surface of his body. With Yue Chenqing's last chant, he would become but ashes on the wind, together with his secrets. Rest not in this holy sword, return thyself to this earthly world. Yue Chenqing finished. Hongshao jerked, a jade-green light shining from the blade. Yue Chenqing's eyes snapped open. Muranglian leaned against a stone pillar, realizing at once that something had gone wrong. "What happened? What's with that damn sword?" Yue Chenqing had never been in this kind of situation before, and anxiously chanted again, "Rest not this holy sword, return thyself to the earthly..." Hongshao suddenly stopped shaking, and a pool of black water surrounding it rushed back into the blade at a frightening speed. "No!" Yue Chenqing cried. "It's going to break free!" He was still speaking when he heard the boom of an explosion, and his vision went dark. No, 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 no. No, you cannot die. Oh, you cannot die. Oh, you can't die. The waves of chi sent up by the blast flung him violently away. Yurchenching smashed into a stone wall and spit up a mouthful of blood. When you said he finished, hey, I didn't mean like that. I didn't mean like that. Jesus. Yurchenching smashed into a stone wall and spit up a mouthful of blood. He's fine, guys. He's just joking around. Yurchenching looked around in panic, only to see that Hongshao had flown straight up into the middle of the bloody fight. It emitted a dazzling green light from within a cloud of black smoke, illuminating Yurchenching and Muronglian's pallid faces. Muronglian clung to the wall for balance, grinding his teeth. This is... Yurchenching cried out, his voice breaking. The sword-destroying incantation backfired. It broke the seal. Murongdaga, come quick, come stop it. Was there any need for Yurchenching to say it? Muronglian swept over and attempted to use his Changkun pouch to contain it again, but Yurchenching's final mistake had freed Hongshao of its restraints. This time, its strength and resentment were formidably strong. It sent out a burst of sharp sword energy that struck down Muronglian before flying into Li Qingchan's hand. Sorry, it was in his hand, not his heart. Hand. Into his hand. Yurchenching! Muronglian opened his mouth and spat. You useless fool! Didn't I already say I was useless? That I didn't know how to do it? Yurchenching wailed dejectedly. You're the one who made me try! What mistake did you make on the last line? Muronglian was so furious his face could have frozen in a scowl. I didn't make a mistake, Yurchenching insisted. Rest not in this holy sword. Return thyself to the earthly world. How could I have recited that wrong? It must be something I don't understand. Or maybe I drew the array wrong in the beginning. There was no point in explaining it further. Li Qingchan was clutching the glowing Hongshao sword. The sword spirit was fusing with its vessel. When Moji saw the cloud of light burst forth, he shouted, Tuntian barrier! A beam of golden light sprang from his palms and morphed into a massive whale. Whistling, it swept aside all the rock debris and completely enveloped its allies under its halo. On the other side of the whale's barrier, Li Qingchan, having recovered his sword, was seething with terrifying evil energy. Floating in midair and surrounded by bluish streaks of power from the blade, he slammed against the Tuntian barrier and released a fearsome flow of spiritual energy. Li Qingchan lowered his head and watched the wounds on his arms and palms heal. He straightened his clothes, a sinister smile creeping over his pale face. After a long moment, he turned around with smiling eyes, looking askance at Yurchenching below. Okay. Your Gongzi is yet unpracticed. His expression was horribly unsightly. The pain of nearly having his soul dissipated would not be so easily forgotten, but the discomfort was nothing now that his strength had exponentially increased. Many thanks for your unintended support. Oh no! Yurchenching is gonna kill himself! Oh no! He's not gonna die by anyone else's hand. He's gonna do it himself. He's gonna do it himself. Wow. That's brutal. Muronglian watched as the situation, which was still intimately connected to his responsibilities over Lome Pavilion, continued to deteriorate. Profoundly discomfited? Discomfited? I have no idea how to read that word. Profoundly discomfited, he turned to Moji. Why aren't you fighting him? How is it that you can't even defeat a sword spirit? If I fight him, will you maintain the protective barrier? Moji snapped. Muronglian choked. Don't you still have Shrairon? Let Shrairon take him down in snake form. Shrairon is guarding Gumong. Muronglion pounced as if he had found an incredible piece of leverage against Moji. He refused to put aside petty differences, even before the enemy. Very well, so you really are. If he goes berserk again, are you going to stop him? Moji angrily interrupted. You. Murongdaga, it's useless, Yue Chunqing said, his little face stark white. His little face. If a sword of that caliber fuses with the sword spirit, they're close to invincible. Only an artificer, Zongshi, could hope to defeat him. He was near tears. I messed up. Li Qingchan, now delivered from danger, had no plans to tangle any further with these three. He was determined to swiftly break away in order to complete his unknown mission. Raising his hand, he cast a powerful sword glare barrier, separating himself from Moji and his allies, then lifted Hongshao to fly out of the cave. Quick, after him, Muronglion said. What use would it be to go after him? Yue Chunqing cried. I just said he's more or less invincible right now. Only the most powerful artificer Zongshu could. Before he could finish, a beam of blinding white light streaked toward Li Qingchan's back. The bamboo warrior had flown up into the air, uninhibited by Li Qingchan's barrier. With a single flip, it landed before Li Qingchan and unsheathed its saber with a shing to bar Li Qingchan's way. Oh boy. Guys, this is the last page. Li Qingchan wasn't the only one who was shocked. Even Yue Chunqing was dumbfounded. Had he not said a fused sword spirit was close to invincible, and that only an artificer Zongshu with skills on par with his father could defeat it? Oh, is Daddy here? What's going on? Who was this Zongshu? Zongshu? Is it Zongshu or Zongshu? I don't know. The bamboo warrior? That was beyond ridiculous. Yue Chunqing's brain was a buzzing mess until he heard the bright sound of a sword behind them. He turned to see a man soaring toward them from the cave entrance, his white robes fluttering as he rode the winds. Ooh, cunty! The man's white robes was of light and graceful make, and the silver trim at his sleeves gleamed faintly. His long hair was bound by a tall jade crown, fastened with a pin overlaid with a ribbon. The snowy silk fluttered in tandem with his sleeves. All his flowing sleeves and silks gave him a strikingly immortal aura. Though this man possessed extremely delicate features, the delicacy of his face couldn't diminish his imposing presence. An apathetic coldness was visible in his eyes, such that his Spartan elegance was not one softly tender, but rather piercingly frosty and indifferent. What is going on here? What is going on here? Sorry, I spoiled it for myself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, continue. Woo. The white-robed cultivator briskly steered his sword to alight upon the ground, expressionlessly lifting his refined face. Those severe sword brows and majestic phoenix eyes swept across the battlefield. When his gaze landed on the bedraggled Yue Chunqing, he let out a dismissive snort. He stepped forward with a wave of his sleeves, horsetail whisk, resting in the crook of his arm. Here was the ignorance of Chenghua's three poisons. Master of the Bamboo Warrior, Murong Chuyi. And that's the end of the book. That's it. He is so fine. I will just say he is so fine. Whether he's his brother or his father or his, like great like ancestor or something and is actually just an immortal being, there is a resemblance. Wow. Is this about to get weird? I mean, probably. It's probably about to get very weird very fast. I do not know how much smut is in the next book and how much I will have to pre-record or like just, record off stream. But yeah, that's that. This illustration on this last page is of this cunty man. He's not as cunty as Morang Leon, but there is resemblance with his like whisk. He is Angie. He kind of looks like Moji a little bit. He kind of looks like if Moji was. He kind of looks like Moji if Moji. No. What am I saying? Moji and Morang Leon's love child. Even though I know he's that's just how this illustrator is depicting him. And he is fine. He is fine. He has a scowl. He's got like a little, like he's angry. He's got a wrinkle where his eyebrow is, Yep, that's it. Guys, that's it. Guys, that's the end of the book. Oh my god. Unfortunately. Oh my god, I don't even need a bookmark anymore. Who is this bitch? We're gonna find out eventually. But it will not be that soon because I have learned that the Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish Volume 3 is out now, and I need to get it, and we're gonna read that next. I'm sorry, it's just the way it's gonna happen. So I think we'll be like alternating between that and this. I know it's like complete opposite genre and stuff, but it is fun and it is refreshing. I promise. I promise. Oh man, I don't even have the second book of this yet, but I will have it soon. So yeah, that's that. Thank you for coming along this journey with me. This is so good. It's very slow, but it also doesn't feel too slow, but also like I don't know. The pacing is interesting. It's definitely feeling like a long series. I do not know how many books there are in this. I think there's like at least 5, at least. I'm pretty sure there's more like 8 or 9 or 12 or I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, that's that. Wow. Okay. Okay, meat bun. Okay, meat bun. Oh, sorry, I picked the mic. Yeah, how are you feeling? Is everyone okay? I can put this book down now. Are we all okay? I do have to go to the bathroom, so I'll have to end soon. Very soon. But oh man. Oh me, oh my. I think I'll be fine, but I was sweating during that. Me too! I hope my reading was okay. It wasn't the best today, but we got through it. Whew. I am sweating so much now. I need to go take a shower. Oh man. Who is this? Are we good or worse off? I really thought he was gonna get away, and that was gonna be the start of the next book, I don't care how you read, the tone was perfect. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I do get really in my head about, like, getting it right the first try, But I do have trouble reading in general. So it's like, there's gonna be mistakes. I'm gonna trip up a lot. But yeah. I really did think he was gonna get away and that was gonna be the main villain of the next book. Or maybe, like, catastrophes were gonna happen. Maybe, like, a time skip of everything that happened. But no! We got this guy interfering. We got a relative of... We got a Murong. coming in, swooping in, being the hero, but also being a little bit of a bitch to Yue Ching. Don't you fucking dare. Everyone's mean to him. And he kind of deserves it a little bit, but also I love him. He's my favorite character. I think we all know this by now. Yue Ching is my favorite character. I love him. He really shined in these last couple of chapters. He was just a little fuckboy in the beginning, and then now he's a pathetic, sniveling little child. But also, he is pretty competent. I mean, yeah, he messed up, but also it probably wasn't his fault. I really don't think it was his fault, so, you know? Okay. Wow, okay, I will, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm just thinking. This was a journey. I love doing these streams. I love doing reading streams. I think it's so fun. I look forward to them every week. Ad? An ad? It doesn't even say it's an ad. Wow, Twitch is lying to me. That's crazy. But yeah. Oh man. Oh, let's just take a moment to breathe. I don't have thoughts. I don't think I can have thoughts. I think I'm done. I think my brain has rotted away and all I can think about was that last fight scene. All I could think about was that fight scene with Moji and Gumong and the way it wasn't just fighting, it was also fucking. That's all I could think about. That was so good. And that line of him becoming his tears, that was so good too. Oh, I do need to frame that. Maybe I need to make art and then have that line. Maybe I need to make art of that. Oh no! I'm not good enough of an artist to do that. I don't think I can do that. I need to breathe and drink some water of shade. Oh. That was so intense. That was so intense. But yeah, I don't think I have thoughts right now. I think I need to collect my thoughts and then still not have them after I've collected them. I can't express my thoughts very well. It's a problem. It's like I have to translate everything in my brain to words to speak out of my mouth. It's a process. It's a process. Speaking in general is a process. I've had issues with going nonverbal in the past. I don't know why I'm saying this. All this to say, I don't have any thoughts to spare right now. I will probably do like an art stream or something next week. And we can chat about it then. Just get it all out then. But yeah, for now, ooh, I gotta get the fish book. Okay, I'm going to get the fish book. We'll be reading that next week. We'll be reading Fishy, Fishy, Fishy. I can't wait to read the chapter names. That book, The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish, those books always have such good, stupid, clickbaity-ass titles for their chapters. It's so funny. I love it so much. That book is like crack treated seriously, but not too seriously, but you know. So good. But yeah, I'll see you next week for that if you care to join. If you aren't caught up on it, I have all of my VODs for Beloved Disabled Times Beloved Pet Fish up on my YouTube. I think it's the same, yeah, Aries VTT on my YouTube. It's also just linked on my Twitch, so you know, whatever. It's very fun. It's very fun and refreshing. You know, listen to it while you're cleaning or you know doing other tasks. It's so silly, except when it's not, and then it gets really dark. But it is so silly. It does have that dark undertone to it. But anyway, we'll see how dark the next one gets. I've read like a little bit of a synopsis of it, and it says something about oh, now male fish can lay eggs too. What? What are we talking about? It truly is Empreg. It truly is Fishy Empreg. Okay. But yeah. we'll be doing that next week. I think we'll be doing 3 streams next week if I can help it, if my body will allow me. I am currently in pain week, so we'll see if that happens. I do want to do 3 streams next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now you really want to catch up? Yeah, I get that. You put mpreg into something and then, yeah, immediately. Yeah, I'm sold. But yeah, I'll try to make it on Monday. I don't know. I might be in a lot of pain. We'll see. Hopefully not, but what happens. My menstruating folks know how it is. But yeah, I'll see you on Monday. If not, then I'll see you on Wednesday. If not, then I'll see you on Friday. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And be safe and wear a mask. Goodbye.